Subcompact SUVs and budget-friendly SUVs are popping out everywhere, and you really have to stand out of the class whenever you're talking about competition. And when you're looking at a turbocharged 3-cylinder with a wet belt inside the engine, some people don't like that. We're going to discuss that through this review, what they've done to combat that so you can get more miles out of this vehicle. You get great MPGs. I mean, I was getting about 25.5 on an average when I tested it before, but we're going to see what the real numbers are here, as well as the sound deadening and the drive quality, because this is the base trim. And when you go base, you need your basic necessities and features. Does this give you everything in that as one package compared to the competition? I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and Morgan Chevrolet in Tampa has given us the 2026 Chevrolet Trax in Marina Blue Metallic over Jet Black. 5 different trims to choose from this year, with 6 different exterior colors, 2 different interior colors. This is the base trim, but you could still option features, and you're probably noticing that already because we have these 17-inch wheels. When you add that package, you'll also get the remote start. But it's kind of crazy because it doesn't have a push button start. 7.3 inches of clearance is going to be on all trims. Chrome highlighting into the glossy black grille with LED daytime runnings. And the grille will change on the 2RS and the Active. And that's not typical with the vehicle that starts just over $20,000. Now that package I was talking about is going to give you the same color as the body on the side view mirrors. They're heated. It also gives you heated interior front seats. I don't know if I would tick the box to too many features if I was going into the base trim, because what the Trax really soars on is pricing. Once you start escalating the price to 22, 23, 24 grand, you might as well go into the 2RS and get some of those features standard, or even the Active, because both of those trims are going to be the same price. Now here's where some people have lost some faith. It's a 1.2 liter inline turbocharged 3-cylinder. But what's unique about this is you're getting pretty decent MPG. I was able to get 25.5 on my devices. We'll see what we get on this one here. But it gets 28 MPG for the city, 32 MPG for the highway, with a combined at 30 MPG. This is producing 137 horsepower with 162 pound-feet of torque. Front-wheel drive, that's the only way you can configure this. It's paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now reaching 60 is around 8.8 seconds roughly. We'll see what we get in the review. Top speed is around 113 miles per hour. It's limited, it's restricted. Anything over 100 miles per hour, you're gonna go to jail, and it really doesn't matter because you're not buying this for that. You're buying this for better MPG and the fact that you're not getting a CVT transmission, plus you're getting features. Now the payload is around 1,100 pounds, and the reason why I say this is because statistically you would want to put maybe 4 adults at 175 pounds with maybe 300 pounds in the cargo. That way, it would be sufficient for this to drive. Because once you start maxing that max payload, it does put a strain on the engine and that transmission. The 17-inch wheels is going to be the base wheel that comes on the vehicle to begin with. It goes up to a 19-inch wheel, and here's the key fob. Like I said, it's an actual key. Manual seat adjustment for the front. You already know about the heated. It's cloth seats. I would go up a couple trims, so I'd get the Activix interior. It's a fake leatherette. I'm just not a huge fan of the cloth. The cloth seats have a little bit more of a cushion to them though. Those are going to be a little bit more on the firm side. Chevy keeps this sporty style with the driver focus layout. You get the blue that's going to highlight in the circular vents. You get the texture that just kind of vanishes into the satin aluminum. Knee space at 6'3". I have about 5 inches. On this side I have an additional 6 inches. The footwell is actually pretty deep. I can literally stretch out my legs like this. So on a long drive, this could be relatively comfortable. If the seats were a little bit longer in the way they sit, they don't really contour so much. So it's more for the butt than the thigh area, and my knees are going to be up in the air. No auto dimming rear view mirror, no LED interior lights. We got to get this key out. We got to put it in the ignition. Let's fire it up. Now you're probably noticing a difference because this is the base trim, so you're getting an 8-inch diagonal screen. They'll still keep that plastic housing that goes into the gauge cluster, and you have a digital reader here in the center with analog odometer and tach. 11-inch, you have to go up the tier. Wireless connectivity, that's still going to be standard, and you'll have a standard reverse camera. You have rear parking sensors, which is also not necessarily normal on a base trim. The trajectory does expand. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto is wireless, Sirius XM, AM, FM streaming, Bluetooth audio with a climate control, wireless charging pad. You're going to have to option features. It has a 12-volt USB ports. You have an area here that you can put your phone here. It's going to be firm materials pretty much everywhere. Storage is good though. I just don't like how on the armrest part, it's higher up than the door card. Leg space for the driver, I have about 4.5 inches. On this side, I have an additional 5.5 inches. The blue highlights come into play with the circular air vents that incorporate into the door card, and it basically circles around into the dashboard. And coming back this way, headroom is more than optimal. You don't get a moonroof, no one touch up and down for any of the windows, and the hard materials are everywhere. Once you start going up the trim like the 2RS, the Activix, this is going to have an inner layer, but it's still going to be hard materials here. Storage pocket, it's a medium size. It's carved out for a beverage holder with a 3-spoke multi-function steering wheel. For the back seats, this is the opening that you get. The cloth seats, they're going to be the same as the front, so they don't contour at all. It's a flat sit. No armrests, no cup holders, no storage behind any of the front seats, charging ports. You get a little storage pocket there. The door card is the same materials that's in the front, so it's going to be hard materials, but it's easy to clean on the positive note. The door card, it's pretty decent with storage. Sitting behind me, and this is in the position I would be driving, I have about 4 inches. And then on this side, I have an additional 4 inches. And headroom is more than enough, which is surprising for a subcompact SUV, because typically it's a lot more tight. The seats are a little bit more forgiving on the sides, not so much on the center. Knee space, I have about 3 inches here and maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inches here. Because it's a flat floor, feet, butt, leg, and shoulder space, it's good. Even this pedestal area, it's moved up enough that I can actually move on a longer drive, meaning more than 30 minutes. The con that I have is this does not extend outwards, and the only reason why I would say that is typically you don't have this in these SUVs. Usually the seats kind of come upwards more so. This stresses to me that they're just giving you a little bit more space from front to back, and you have about 16 inches. If that was with cloth, you'd have about 18 inches. And headroom is still really good if you needed to fit 3 adults in the back seats. Now, the problem that people talk about is the wet belt that is found in the interior of the engine. This is designed to help with fuel economy, to make the engine quieter. However, it requires strict on-time oil changes in the correct fluid to prevent the rubber from breaking down and clogging the engine oil pump. So just take that in consideration whenever you are buying these more inexpensive vehicles. They're going to have some cons, but for an everyday drive, what you're getting is all the standard features and amenities that you would need. Bulb type tail lights, and the rear gets the grille pattern. Towing is not recommended. Is this better than the competition? The competition is going to have CVT transmission, so you're going to have to do the services on those around every 30,000 miles. So either way you go, unless you're going to spend over $30,000 and get something like a Mazda, and then you're going to have it turbocharged, you're going to be spending some dough on services. So it really doesn't matter how you go when you're trying to save dough on a subcompact SUV, but does it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you're new to the channel, click the subscribe and the like, because all these clicks help with the algorithm so we can bring more vehicles like this to the channel. Release going into 25.6 cubic feet of storage. No LED interior lights. You get a little storage pocket here underneath the floor. You get a spare tire. You can also lower this like that, so I guess it makes it easier to get the spare tire out. I would just completely remove it myself. That gives us side to side at 41 inches. Front to back just under 3 feet at 34 3/4 inches, and a top to bottom will max right over 26 inches. Now, in order to get the 54.1 cubic feet, I'm tall at 6'3", so I can fold it back here at a 60-40 split. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go into the back, come inside, and fold them down. That will give you just under 6 feet at 69.5 inches from front to back. Now, a couple of things I will note right off the bat with the Trax. When you start going base trim, you really do feel it in the interior with space, with the seats, but the comfort to the seats, the cloth compared to the Activix, it's actually more forgiving. The cushion itself It's a little bit more comfortable. So even though the suspension is a bit rigid, I mean, you will feel pretty much all of the imperfections with this suspension layout, you're still going to be somewhat comfortable. And in the footwell area for the front, you can actually stretch out quite a bit. Even on the driver's side, I'm 6'3" and I can stretch my legs completely out. So now imagine when you're using your cruise control and you're driving 2, 3, 4, 5 hours away going on a vacation, well, you can relax. Even though my knees are going to be up in the air, still going to be a little bit more comfortable than the competition because they've made the actual area in the interior more spacious than most subcompact SUVs. I have a lot of different devices going on, so we will definitely check the sound deadening. What I can hear is a lot of road noise filtering in, but that's also normal when you're going into a base trim. What is cool about the Trax though is this front windscreen is acoustic. That's not normal on vehicles that's just over 20 grand. Turn radius at more or less a stop point is gonna get about 3 lanes. Not so happy about that. And where I rest my arms, there's just a lot of firm materials. As for pickup, it has it. I mean, it's a 6-speed automatic transmission, which is a plus. Turbocharged, I mean, people like it, people dislike it, but realistically, that's where the automotive industry is going nowadays. Now, going against competition, the only reason why I would say to look at anyone else is if you start entering territory around 30 grand. Because now you can get some more fun vehicles and a lot more plush interior amenities. You could go into Mazda, it ticks the box. You could go into Volkswagen, and I am just really ecstatic about the Tiguan, but you would be going into the Taos, which it's okay. It's gonna have some firm materials, but again, once you entertain that $30,000 price, you are starting to get more soft materials in the interior of the cabin. Whereas here, they changed the design on the interior of the cabin, but really where you're resting your arms, it's basically the same. And this center cluster sits up higher than the ones in the door car. When you mash on the gas pedal, I mean, it has some performance. Check it out. And with my devices in the interior, the sound deadening is around 2 to 3, which is actually pretty good. I would really grade it more at a 4 out of 10, meaning you're gonna hear the road noise and when you hit bumps. As for MPG, driving it around, the best I was able to get, just like in the other vehicle, was 25.5 MPG combined. The steering is gonna be somewhat numb to the road, but that's also to be expected. But going against competition, if you stay at a low price point, this is the best way to go because everyone else is gonna be anywhere from 2 to 5 and $10,000 more. And at that price, I'm sorry, even if you think there's a problem with that wet belt, you could fix it, and you'll fix it multiple times for the savings you're gonna get. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out this next video right here.